Greetings metalheads and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I have another installment of bands you need to hear for you. Another recommendation of a band that if you're not familiar with these guys, seriously need to make yourself acquainted. And if you've been following the last few installments of bands you need to hear, then I am continuing with the theme that you'll be aware of already, which is, of course, in the run-up to Incineration Fest in May, London, UK this year. I've been picking some choice acts from the absolutely stellar lineup. So today's recommendation, I've gone for something a little bit more obvious. There's a whole host of great bands on that lineup, but I feel like I would be doing the band and myself as a fan, and also just the festival a massive disservice if I didn't talk about at least one of the main headliners. And today I'm going to be talking about the mighty Marduk. From Sweden, formed in around 1990, Marduk are a black metal band, but they are an absolutely exceptional band, and they will be co-headlining the festival alongside the mighty Enslaved. But Marduk are a seriously formidable force to be reckoned with. If you're not familiar with these guys, as I say, they're from Sweden. They are a black metal band. However, this album, this is Dark Endless. This was their first album, and this is actually just more of a death metal album. It's dark, it's evil, it's menacing. Some good material on this album, but it's very much a traditional death metal album, considering that this was, I think this was 1991 or 1990, I can't quite recall off the top of my head, but it's a Swedish band, no doubt influenced by what was happening with the death metal movement in Stockholm and in Gothenburg, in fact, no doubt influenced by that. And I feel that there is a serious influence of what was actually happening with the American death metal scene, with the likes of Obituary or Cannibal Corpse, for example. But I think this is a good album. This is a strong album. It's just quite simplistic, uncomplicated death metal. It's good stuff. You've got a different vocalist here, the first of a succession. To be honest, there's a number of vocalists that have passed through Marduk, but overall, it's a good album. It's a good album. It's actually, by the time we get to the second album, that things have changed massively and things are starting to go in the black metal direction. The second album, of course, is Those of the Unlight, which is a strong album. I absolutely love that artwork. It's almost like the Nazgul, or I believe that's the name anyway, from Lord of the Rings, Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, the dramatisation of the films. That's certainly evil and menacing. Great art. Actually, it's clinging on a little bit to the death metal sound and stylism still, only minimally, but actually it's more of a melodic black metal album. As I say, there are still those utterances, if you like, from Dark Endless. Still a little bit of a hangover, but it's actually quite epic. Certainly when you take into account a song like the second to last track, Echoes from the Past. That is sort of 5 minutes of stormy weather before you get some brilliant melodic melodies and quite a soulful passage. And then you've got Stone Stands Its Silent Vigil, which is another absolutely beautiful melodic track. There are some cracking moments elsewhere though, with the likes of Wolves or On Darkened Wings, but just brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Melodic black metal. Third album, Opus Nocturne, a much more bleak black affair. You just look at the art on the back there of the lineup. You know, this is black metal. By this point, this is very much traditional black metal. This is keeping in line, if you like, with what the bands like Dark Throne and Mayhem were doing in Norway at the time. But this is quite a crisp, quite a sharp black metal album. It's a really good one. It's a strong album. It's young. It's youthful. It's got energy. It's got a whole lot of character. Some really good tracks on here. such as Sulphur Souls, Autumnal Reaper, Opus Nocturne, the title track, rather grand and epic, and The Sun Has Failed, again, great tracks, brilliant stuff. But for me, it's actually the fourth album, Heaven Shall Burn When We Are Gathered. Now that takes things to another level. Not too sure if I like the art on this album or not. I think that it's certainly interesting anyway. But this is the first album to feature Legion on vocals, who was a much more accomplished vocalist. Until that point, after the first album, from second through third, we had Joachim Afgrade on vocals, short-lived, but Legion takes over, and Heaven Shall Burn When We Are Gathered is a seriously brutal black metal assault. This is a heavy, nasty bit of work. Start to finish, this is just pummeling black metal. The drumming is just steamrollering, the vocals are nasty, the riffs from Morgan are just cutting and fierce. This is seriously good black metal. This is aggressive. You know, a clear difference between what Marduk are doing and what a lot of the Norwegian bands or other European bands, their music was being characterized by, was soundscapes and keyboards and synths. Marduk do not go down that path at all. They go for straight for the face, straight for the throat, hard-hitting, brutal black metal. That is what sets them apart. That I think Marduk are significantly more brutal or aggressive than a lot of those contemporaries. Certainly a lot harsher than any of the likes of Emperor or Dark Throne. No discredit to those bands at all. Absolutely love those bands. But Marduk, they are a furious machine, a steamrolling machine. And this is a freaking phenomenal album. This is savage black metal. Next up, because they have a lot of albums, but all of them are really, really enjoyable, and they're all significant in their own way. Certainly, Nightwing. Now, this is a bit of a divisive album, because this is the second album, obviously, to feature Legion, but I think that this is the first album where Marduk start to really sound like the Marduk of today. They've really progressed and evolved. This is quite a lengthy, quite an in-depth album. There's a lot of depth here. There's a lot of diversity. But now, I have read a lot of things online, a lot of reviews where people have said, Nightwing, it's unoriginal, it lacks imagination, it's boring, it's generic, they're just copycats. All of that is crap, because in my opinion anyway, because Nightwing is actually no, it's not unoriginal, no, it's not unambitious, no, it's not uncreative, it's just Marduk progressing. If they're building on, they're more like stabilizing at this stage, an evolution for the band. They are growing into what they have basically been consistently doing for a heck of a long time now. But Nightwing, absolutely solid album. I really love this album. Blood Tide 30 of Hell's Fire, absolutely savage. Of course, we've got the great Slay the Nazarene, which is absolutely furious. This is furious black metal, but actually there's melodic elements here. There's very heavy groove, if you like. Dreams of Blood and Iron, Draco Wader, another good song. Just absolutely brilliant stuff. In my opinion, Nightwing is a hard-hitting album. Brutal, but it's just unapologetically Marduk. If you don't like black metal, you're definitely not going to like this catalogue. But if you like extreme, aggressive music, then there's definitely going to be something in that variety, that span of variety that we get with that first handful of albums. Certainly something for everyone. Now, Marduk are probably best known for this album. This is Panzer Division Marduk. Now, say what you like and think what you like about the whole aesthetics and the very risky move of using the word Panzer Division. It's risky, yes, of course. There's the association with the Reich, with the Panzer Divisions, with Blitzkrieg. Now, all of that aside, because I don't necessarily care much for the the political or the ethic side of it. I just take this at face value as just being freaking good black metal. Obviously, if it was outright covered in swastikas, then no, I would probably avoid that. But this is a freaking solid album. This is a very short album. It's I don't even think it's much over half an hour long. I think it's about 30 minutes long. Savage, short, sharp black metal. The title track, Panzer Division Marduk, is absolutely furious. It's pummeling drumming. The riffs are just nasty as hell. Legion is just like a beast, a man possessed. Baptism by Fire, Christ raping black metal. Scorched Earth, Beast of Prey, Blood Dawn, 502, and Fist fucking God's Planet. Start to finish, this is a masterpiece. That is why this is held in such high regard, because it is just unrelenting, punishing black metal. Without a doubt, one of the best Marduk albums, and certainly very, very popular across the board with the fans. Then we get a couple of really quite good albums in succession. We've got Le Grand Dance Macabre. Things take a much more epic, much grander turn here. And of course, World Funeral, which follows on. Both fantastic albums. They incorporate a bit more of the melodic elements in there as well. It's not as short, sharp, and as pummeling as Panzer Division Marduk, but these are just brilliant, brilliant albums. These have a little bit more dynamicism. There's a little bit more of a mix in here. It's not just short, straight for the jugular black metal. There's a bit more of melodic elements. There's certain traces of death metal in places, in my opinion. Just an absolutely phenomenal album. Love it to bits. Then I actually have a bit of a gap chronologically, but we'll talk about that more in a minute, because the next album that I am familiar with, chronologically speaking anyway, is The Mighty Serpent's Sermon. Now this is a totally different beast altogether. This features Mortis on vocals, who is still the current vocalist, but this is dark. This is evil stuff. This is brutal black metal. It's just great. Tracks like the opening track, Serpent's Sermon, or Souls for Belial, brilliant stuff. Damnation's Gold, Hail Mary, brilliant. Gospel of the Worm, got some absolutely pummeling material here. I think that album, alongside I believe it was 2015, The Mighty Frontsvine, that is an absolute masterpiece. And of course, the most recent release that we've had from the band, Victoria. These three albums sit really well together, in my opinion. They're a great little trilogy, a little succession. Very unique stuff. There's no one else that sounds like this. Certainly on these two albums, where again they're playing the risky move of talking about themes such as the great panzers, tigers, June 44, the werewolves. We've got Africa's The Blonde Beast. We've got Nebelwerfer. We've got a whole load of really quite potentially dangerous subjects here. But if you just take it at face value that they're talking about and singing and writing about historic events, then that's probably the best place to leave it. Actually, this is just cracking black metal. These two albums are my favourite two Marduk albums. I think Victoria is an absolute masterpiece. Again, it's quite a short album. It's only just over half an hour long, I believe. But tracks like Werewolf, June 44, Equestrian Bloodlust, Tiger 1, The Last Fallen, the title track, Silent Night. This is just brilliant. And actually, this album's been out for a few years now. It's 2018. I remember at the time, I had a running route that I would do around where I lived, and it was pretty much just long enough, that particular route, to listen to this entire album in full. So I was listening to this multiple times a week, and I know this down back to back now. Absolutely love it. I think it's a real standout moment. And of course, Frontsvine, as mentioned, absolutely cracking stuff. Some truly brilliant material on here. All those mentioned tracks, like The Blonde Beast or Africa. We've got Fatherland, Rope of Regret rather. Absolutely storming stuff. Just such a wealth of absolutely brilliant material from this band. One of the true standouts in black metal. And as I've said, you know, there is no theatrics with Marduk. There is no soundscapes and beautiful synths and you know, beautiful orchestral passages. Nothing like that. It sounds worlds apart from more modern Dimmu Borgir or the catalogue of the Mighty Emperor. Worlds apart. There's no gothic elements here. There's no great theatrics. This is all just brutal black metal. With the exception, of course, of Dark Endless and Those of the Unlight, which is very much a melodic black metal album. But I did mention earlier, I did have a few gaps in my catalogue, which have all now been rectified as these have just come out on Century Media again. We've got ROM 512, we've got Wormwood, and we've got Plague Angel as well. These actually came out, these particular reissues came out on Friday last, 31st of March. Pre-ordered these on HMV Online actually for $7.99. So I am going to be getting acquainted with them and maybe do another review of those. So yeah, I'm not qualified because I haven't heard them, so I can't actually give you an honest opinion on those. The only other thing to really add to this absolutely stellar discography is the fact that Marduk have a whole load of live albums. And this isn't even all of them, but I will share some of these brilliant ones with you. World Panzer Battle 1999 is an absolute sterling live effort. This is freaking savage. The sound quality at times leaves a little bit to be desired. Nowhere more so than on this particular live album, which I don't feel like I can actually pronounce. But this was recorded in 1993. Recently reissued on Back on Black Records. Yeah, I'm not going to try and pronounce that because I'm going to absolutely butcher it, no doubt. And we've also got Germania as well, another brilliant one. This is a modern reissue featuring alternative artwork. Punishing stuff, really, really brilliant. Certainly if you like crisp and clear and clean production and a sound, then you're definitely not going to enjoy these necessarily, these live albums. But if you like to hear some seriously raw, energetic black metal, then those are some live albums to check out. On tape, I have World Funeral, Jaws of Hell as well. Another fantastic live album, really energetic and brutal. Another nice little one. Another recent reissue on Back on Black Records. Haven't yet got around to listening to Infernal Eternal. Got that on tape. And I've also got Totentanz 2001 on tape as well, which is also a very good live album. Sounds a little bit better. Sounds great with the sort of the analog stylings of tape as opposed to CD or streaming. But yeah, good stuff. Good raw, energetic black metal in its live setting. So there you have it. My opinion and my run through of the absolutely stellar catalogue of the mighty Marduk from Sweden. One of those bands that has a whole lot of variety and a whole lot of really standout moments in their catalogue, but there's not a bad album here. There's not a weak spot. There is not a letdown. It's just all solid, hard-hitting black metal. As I mentioned, we have the exception of those first couple of albums, maybe. But honestly, if I was going to recommend to you, if you've never heard of Marduk, I would say absolutely check them out. Check out albums like the newest album, Victoria. It's a short commitment. Won't take you long to be convinced on that one. We've got Frontsvine as well, absolutely brilliant. Of course, the obligatory Panzer Division Marduk, an absolutely phenomenal masterpiece. And of course, the album that I highly regard is Nightwing, another brilliant album. Just so many great albums in their catalogue, and I really do look forward to seeing the mighty Marduk. Hopefully they'll play some tracks from the earlier years, from albums such as Heaven Shall Burn, when we are gathered. Really do look forward to seeing them in the live setting at Incineration Fest this year. Never had the privilege of seeing the mighty Marduk live before, so that will certainly be an experience. So, what are your thoughts and opinions on the mighty Marduk from Sweden? Black metal, just steamrolling bulldozer war machine that they are. What are your thoughts and opinions? If you've never heard of Marduk, do check them out and then let me know what you think. Very interested to hear. Do check out the mighty Marduk at Incineration Fest if you do get a chance, if you are planning on attending, of course. But thanks very much for watching, my friends. Do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations, all things good and heavy. Feel free to like and subscribe, as always, it's very, very much appreciated. But do take care, my friends, and as always, stay heavy.